All right, everybody, it's the Combatcast with the man they call Dave and Chevy, and we are going to talk about a lot of stuff this weekend. UFC 312 coming up, this past fight night in Saudi Arabia, and we'll talk about stuff that's just going around the ring and our new subject. But before we do that, let's talk about that sponsor.
Yes, we'd like to thank the sponsor, Game Up, for their support of the podcast. They make a thirst-quenching adult beverage with a special blend of electrolytes. Comes in 4 great flavors: fruit punch, lemon lime, orange, and grape.
That's right. Only 110 calories, low carb. Enjoy yourself some Game Up, and let's talk about what we got coming up.
February 15th, UFC Fight Night, Cannonier versus Rodriguez. Should be a fun one. That's in the Apex, 7 p.m. Eastern card, so a little bit earlier for here on the East Coast. And then
Always
February, good. Yeah, we always love those. Also, a couple of big guys in a small cage. I like that too.
Yep.
February 22nd, UFC Fight Night, Cejudo versus Song Yadong, 9 p.m. Eastern from Seattle. Dominic Cruz farewell fight versus Rob Font as the co-main event.
Should be a good one. Font looked good in his last fight and surprised some people. So
yeah,
I don't think it's a pick 'em like on the way. I don't think it's a gimme fight on the way.
Yeah,
out.
No, definitely interesting matchup too.
Yeah.
And then March 1st, UFC Fight Night, Royval versus Cop, 7 p.m. Apex card. We'll see how the rest of that card rounds out.
Another good one right there too, Royval and Cop. Although sometimes a bit of a pain in the ass, I feel like, but he's
he's the worst. Good fighter, but he's annoying individual.
Yeah, but he can't fight, so this will be interesting one.
UFC all right, fighters. Let's move right into that. You know how we like some of these guys for their fighting ability, not necessarily the rest of their life.
Yes, let's talk about our brand new subject segment here we pull from time to time. What's around the ring? What's going on? And so like you said, great segue. People say it's stupid things. Conor McGregor using the N-word on Khabib. Was it Khabib too?
Yeah, so this whole thing started with the Paul Hughes versus Nurmagomedov fight, and Paul Hughes, an Irishman, supposed to have Conor in his corner at one point or whatever. There were talks about it. Then obviously that didn't happen because Conor's a rapist. And then the fight happened. It was a close fight, very competitive, and Paul Hughes was given respect to Khabib, who is a coach, obviously, after the fight, saying, we should train together or whatever. I'm not like that other guy, it's all respect or something. So then Conor came out and got after Paul Hughes, and then that led to him going after Khabib again. And basically, he went back to insulting Dagestan, which he also tried to respect Dagestan at the same time. He insulted Aldo. He insulted Khabib. He insulted Khabib's wife. He insulted his religion. But yeah, basically the story is he dropped the N-word. He's a white Irishman dropping the N-word.
It's weak-minded bullshit, though. You know what I mean? It's just, you're desperate for attention. You're probably on drugs or whatever.
But this was a tweet he put up, and then it was up for 15 minutes and was deleted, which is a classic Conor move. Yeah.
As somebody probably just said, get that shit off of there too, or probably, which happens a lot, I bet, with his PR team. Hey, stop it.
Toughest job in the business, Conor's PR team.
Yeah. So, he's screwing up. I don't have a lot to say about that. Just, typical bullshit. Khabib looks like a champ to me all the time with this stuff because he never really ever responds to this. He always takes the high road. He's won the fight between the two of them in the past already. You got nothing to prove, and that's what a champion acts like. Conor acts like a guy who's desperate, despite all the success he's had in the octagon, all the success he's had in life. Here we are, tirades like that. Just
desperately clinging on to any relevance and fame that he can, and at this point, it's all bad PR that he's getting to stay relevant. So
I think that's embarrassing. But speaking of embarrassing, let's talk about
it's sad and embarrassing. But
let's talk about Bryce Mitchell.
From one misspeak to another, I guess. Yeah, Bryce Mitchell said on his first episode of his podcast that he, I don't have the quote in front of me, but basically he said that Hitler had some good ideas and respected a lot of the things that he did, and he would like to go fishing with the guy.
He said he wasn't that bad a guy, and that he was trying to stop a lot of the stuff that the Jews
talked about the Jews.
Yeah. It's just more stupidity, and then Dana had to come out and talk about what an idiot Bryce Mitchell was. And basically, that's your company's official statement, by the way, on Bryce Mitchell, which again, I think just disassociate with this person. But Dana's so about freedom of speech right now. He's not going to take that stand. But, how bad is it? Like, do you feel like when the company's official response is you're a moron and they want nothing to do with you,
Yeah. Dana has painted himself into this corner with the free speech thing, so I understand it. Personally, I believe in free speech too, but
Me too.
He's not gonna. I'm okay with him not losing his job, but there's other ways the UFC can punish him, and they're gonna. I bet he gets a terrible matchup. He could just fight Josh Emmett every weekend, but
it's tough. Because you talk about freedom of speech, but at the same time, from a business standpoint, I don't know. I want to be associated with you.
Yeah,
anymore.
Exactly. That's the other thing. Yeah. So that could mess with their money, with their sponsors, with their business. So
and I would just find a way to compensate you and go, here's what you would have been paid for your last fights, win bonus, everything. Take it. Have a nice day. Go somewhere else. I'd better cut ties with you.
So that's the other thing is like the UFC. He's not a giant draw or anything.
No, they don't need him.
He's no champion. Yeah. So I would not be surprised if even if he wins out his contract, I don't know how many fights he has left. If he doesn't get re-signed anyway, it's the same as who was that flyweight that was difficult to deal with.
I can't remember, but he basically Dana said his whole team. Yeah.
But he was undefeated. He had a boring fight and he was shitty afterwards or during the fight week, and he didn't get re-signed. So so they showed they don't really need these fighters. So if you fuck up like this, there will be consequences, even if it's not as cut and dry as just getting cut immediately. So
right, UFC is a star right now.
Right,
there's not many. There's John Jones right now. And I know he's a shitty person, but in terms of star power, I think he's kind of the last one in terms of where they're going to be bending over backwards.
Right,
for
38 years old or something like that.
Right, and that's a limited shelf life. But after that, we don't really have a ton of stars right now, too. I was just listening to somebody. I think it was when I talk about this. There's a kind of a star shortage right now.
There's exciting fighters for sure, but yes, I would say no superstars. Nothing like a Connor or Izzy was in his prime.
Yeah.
Pineda is
O'Malley,
close to that.
He just lost.
Yeah, O'Malley kind of his star has dissipated. Pineda is a star for sure, but he's 38. But it is concerning where we're going from here in the UFC. You look at some of these cards, and it's a watered down product. I don't know.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it, but not the most enjoyable stuff. We talk about it. We're degenerates, talk about it every single week. But I don't know about some of these guys who aren't as into it as we are. I just don't think that you're going to build a lot of fans with these cards. But
no. Let's
we got a couple more news things.
Boxing fight. The subjects around the ring, right? Boxing fight just announced agreement anyway. Terrence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez, Riyadh season sometime in September. A venue to be picked, but looking like Vegas.
Yeah, I assume it'll be T-Mobile. Yeah.
Yeah. So that to me is probably the biggest fight you can do in boxing right now, right? With the heavyweights kind of,
Yeah. I think so. This is going to be, both guys have been making hundreds of millions of dollars from this, I think. Very exciting fight. I think at this point, Crawford, the line's going to change a lot, but I think Crawford was a slight favorite at this point. I don't know what weight they're going to fight at because that's going to make a big difference. You You getting that weird audio? Or is that
yeah. That's coming out on this one, but okay. There it is. It's gone, but yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what the whole what the weight is going to be, but Canelo's definitely fought the tougher guys.
Mm-hmm.
Bud's undefeated and has looked great. So it's a very interesting fight.
The agreement I believe I saw was for Canelo's super middleweight title. So we'll
okay.
See.
All right. Yeah. So yeah. It's weird that Canelo's not more of a favorite then.
Yeah, for sure. Fighting his class. But we'll see. Any other things before we move on to next? Okay.
I just want to shout out to local fighter here, Brennan Ward. He made his bare knuckle BKFC debut at Mohegan Sun here in Connecticut, and he got a round 1 KO finish, brutal fashion. Good luck to anyone that gets in the circle with that guy. Bare knuckle is where he belongs, I feel like.
Absolutely. All right.
Absolute beast.
Let's get to this UFC Fight Night review. We're just going to look at the main event and co-main event. We got a lot to talk about today. So anything else you want to point out before we get to the co-main?
The heavyweight fight before that, I just want to point out Sergey Pavlovich Jairzinho Rozenstruik had a terrible 3-round decision. A fight so bad that Rozenstruik got cut afterwards. It was just very boring. Neither guy really engaging. Sergey has definitely lost his aura since that fight with Tom, and then he lost to Volkov, and then he's gun shy against Rozenstruik. So
we'll see. Yeah,
go.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes for Sergey. He needs a big standout win. Hopefully, he'll get it soon to get back kind of some buzz. All right,
co-main event. Sharbulet Magomedov versus Michael Venom Page.
MVP looking good. Wasn't the craziest fight or anything. I was hoping, I think, for a little more action, but I guess in retrospect, we probably should have saw this coming. MVP doing what he does, awkward, counter fighting, and Sharbulet really just didn't have an answer at this level of his game right now for that style. But I thought good win for MVP. And I know they mentioned at the press conference they'd like to. He's interested in fighting Leon Edwards in the UK at welterweight. Great fight. Dana said, "I'm not opposed to that. I like that," which is usually a good sign. But I just want to throw one other one out there because I don't know if he's going to leave yet. But great fight at middleweight. Could probably be boring, but with Izzy losing, MVP versus Adesanya could also be a fight to possibly make as well. I'm just saying, good stuff for MVP getting this win here.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to fight Izzy because they're kind of like boys. Which is like the whole reason why I fought Sharbulet, because Sharbulet called out Izzy. And then he was like, "No, I'll take care of this, Izzy. I'll take care of your light work or whatever." I saw that he also called out Yuri, that he wouldn't mind moving up to 205 to fight Yuri, and that would be a very fun matchup.
Interesting, yeah.
Does nothing for Yuri as far as, that dude's trying to get back to a title, and that doesn't do anything for him. But for fans, that's a very fun fight. Leon Edwards at welterweight, that's also great. I just think MVP, and I did pick MVP by decision in this, and it kind of went the way I saw, where it's just really hard to land on the guy. So until guys have actually gotten in there and seen that movement and tried to get that timing, it's very hard to get. So I think he can beat a lot of guys, even if he's probably not going to be champ at any of these weight classes. But looking forward to whoever he fights, because he is an exciting fighter.
All right, let's get to this main event.
All right, Israel Adesanya versus Nasruddin Imavov.
I thought Adesanya was looking good in that first round. I thought he won the first round, and he got caught. Round 2, there was a couple times, even though I thought he lost the first round, Imavov did have some power, and he was able to land 1 or 2 good solid punches in round 1 as well. But yeah, round 2, he caught him flush. You could argue an early stoppage, but fighter's safety, I didn't have a problem with it. I'm just saying it wasn't like, the most definitive.
He wasn't out. Yeah. He was still moving, but
even Imavov, he just was the first guy to finish Jared Cannonier a couple fights. So this guy's on a tremendous roll. To me, he should be the guy who fights the winner of this weekend's main event for the middleweight championship?
I think that's going to be Chimaev, but
good point.
So I think he needs one more probably, unless he fights Chimaev and the winner fights for the title after that. But
if DDP were to lose this weekend,
you might
do that fight. Yeah.
So, I agree with you. Izzy was looking really good in round one. In round two, there was the eye poke too, and then he tried to do the Pineda thing where he waved off the ref, and then he switched stances. And as soon as he switched stances, Imavov hit him with that overhand, and he just caught him flush and then followed up. So good on Imavov. He's definitely improved since his loss to Strickland a couple years ago. I don't know if he beats Strickland, if Strickland's champ. I don't know if he beats DDP. I don't know if he beats Izzy again if they fight again. I think this is more about Izzy than it is about Imavov. Imavov didn't do anything different than he's been doing, but this is twice in a row now that Izzy was looking really good and got caught by something that normally he would be able to weather, and then ended up getting finished. So, not sure. I know he talked about being with his family, helping his training partners out and stuff, and then he's going to take some time and make a decision. So if he calls it there, that I'd be fine with it. Luke Thomas was talking about, and I agree with him, certainly second greatest middleweight of all time behind Anderson Silva. You could even put him first. He was champ for over 1,000 days. He ran through the whole division 2 times. So if he does call it a career there, he's done everything. So shout out to
Hall of Famer.
Yeah, Hall of Famer, absolutely. He already has a fight in the Hall of Fame with Kelvin Gastelum. So if not, if he wants to come back, maybe pick and choose just a few interesting fights and not shoot for the title would be my advice. My nobody me.
Do you think he called a career after the UFC, or do you think he goes to BKFC kickboxing?
No, I don't think he wouldn't step down. I think he cares about his legacy, and that's a target. He doesn't need the money. He's definitely made enough money. Nope. Yeah, so I don't think he would go do that, unless, Karate Combat did something fun, like there was some sort of fun fight, but I don't know how serious he would be involved in that. But no, I don't think we would see him fight after the UFC if he decided to retire.
I don't think he'd do GFL. I do wonder about Karate Combat or even bare knuckle, only because it's a different kind of combat sport, and I could see the allure of trying to conquer another combat sport. And if it didn't work out, I don't think it'd work out. I don't think he'd spend too much time at it, but I could just see him, having that. I mean, because he's already conquered kickboxing, now he's conquered MMA. You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
I don't see Izzy as the bare knuckle guy.
No, me neither. I'm sure they'd welcome him.
I'm sure they would. I'm sure they'd pay him a lot too. But I don't want to be disparaging towards those guys because I love the bare knuckle sports. I love what all those guys are doing. But those are more the meathead knuckle dragger brawler types. Yeah. Izzy is more of like the technical artist, painting a canvas through martial arts kind of thing.
I agree.
And that's similar to what MVP does, and that didn't work out too well for him.
No.
He got his ass kicked by Mike Perry. So
good point.
I don't think Izzy would want to do that either, but there could be some fun fights over there. But
all right, let's hit to the main event. UFC 12 this weekend. Overall, not really excited about this card, except for I think obviously a great main event, and I think the fight I'm most excited for is this co-main event. Yeah. But let's talk about the card. Is there anything else besides on the main card that's got your attention?
Prelim fight, the featured fight on the prelims, Jack Jenkins versus Gabriel Santos. Jack is a fun fighter. You may have remembered him. He's an Australian guy. He's broken multiple opponents' legs with kicks, but he's an underdog in this fight. So I'm rooting for Jack. I kind of wish his fight was on the main card, but it's not. So we'll watch it on the prelims. All right, let's talk about the main card, though. So leading off the main card, Jake Matthews versus Francisco Prado.
All right, Prado is 12-2, 6 KOs, 6 subs, 1-2 in the UFC. So his only 2 losses are in UFC competition. He's all finishes, but again, his 2 losses are in UFC. So as his competition has been stepping up, you see where he is struggling a little bit. Jake Matthews, this guy is probably the ultimate UFC journeyman, in my opinion. Middle of the card, win some, lose a couple, win some. But he's 20-7, 5 KOs, 8 subs, 7 decisions. He's had fight of the night twice, performance of the night once. He is a solid test for Francisco here. Again, I don't think I know if I'm necessarily overwhelmed by Francisco Far, but this could be a fun fight stylistically. I could see them both looking for a finish. I'll go Francisco. I'll say Drake Matthews is just, he's had a lot of fights in his career at this point at the UFC. So I'm just wondering, Francisco maybe takes him out. Round 2, TKO.
Jake is on a long streak of win one, lose one.
Yeah.
And it's his time to lose again. So most of his losses are versus up-and-coming prospects. In steps Francisco Prado, 22 years old with a 12-2 record, all wins or finishes, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Prado gets a round 1 KO.
All right.
Jimmy Krute versus Rodolfo Bellato.
All right. Bellato is 12-2, 7 KOs, 4 subs, 1 decision. He's on a 4-fight win streak, and he's 1-0 in the UFC. Jimmy Krute is 12-4-1, 5 KOs, 4 subs, 3 decisions. He's 0-3-1 in his last 4 fights. That's unfortunate. I don't like that statistics. I've always liked Jimmy Krute. Think he's a fun guy, but I'm going to say he loses by decision here.
Yeah, Jimmy Krute hasn't won since 2020. I get that, Australian, so in his backyard, but I'll pick Rodolfo by decision as well. Yeah. I don't think he's going to get finished. He's tough, but I don't see him winning this one.
Yeah.
All right, Justin Tafa versus Tallison Teixeira.
Heavyweights. And so this guy related to the Teixeira, the Glover Teixeira at all?
I don't know. Maybe. I think he's Brazilian.
He's 7-0. He's got 6 KOs and one sub, and he's coming off a win on the Contender Series. This is his UFC debut. So that's fun. Justin Tafa, 7-4-1, all knockouts. So someone's probably going out here. Justin Tafa is 3-1-1 in his last 4 fights. So this is going to be a fun one. It's your UFC debut. That's what I'm a little concerned about with the young prospect, Teixeira, and he likes to bang. So Tafa's kind of your guy, and Tafa's on the streak. I'm going to go Tafa here. I'll go Tafa, KO, round 2. But if Teixeira wins, good on him. Maybe he's going to be something good to watch.
Yeah, like you, I assume someone's going to sleep in this one unless both guys just sit back waiting to counter like that Pavlovich Rosenstruck fight. If and when they engage, it'll be wild for a couple seconds, and whoever lands first is probably going to win by KO. So
yeah,
I'm going to pick the vet Tafa in this. He's dealt with power punchers before, and like you mentioned, UFC debut and jitters on a main card in the other guy's, home region. I think Tallison being 7-0 with 6 KOs will also have him a bit overconfident in his power and feel like he's ready to go in there and bang and show his power. So I'm going to pick Tafa round 1 KO.
All right. Co-main event.
All right. The exciting fights. Let's get into them. Co-main event. Zhang Weili versus Tatiana Suarez.
Suarez is 10-0, 2 KOs, 5 subs, 3 decisions, and 7-0 in the UFC. She was a former Ultimate Fighter winner as well. Great story. She was going for the Olympics in wrestling. She had a neck injury. They found out she had cancer. She's overcome cancer. She's had other neck injuries, knee injuries. She's always managed to come back. That being said, let's keep in mind she's had a lot of injuries the last couple of years that you're taking on. Zhang Weili or Weili Zhang. I never know what to call her nowadays. I guess
it's different depending on who you're hearing it from.
Yeah, but
all Chinese fighters are like that.
Yeah, she's 25-3, 11 KOs, 8 subs, 6 decisions. She's had this strawweight title 2 times now, besides being the current champ. 3 successful title defenses overall. Second most title fight wins in UFC women's strawweight history. Fight of the night once. Performance of the night 4 times. So she's fun, but also she's a beast. Like, she's a beast. Now, Suarez is one of the few people who's probably not going to get bullied by Zhang Weili, so she's going to be able to match her when these girls are grappling and may even have the advantage. I say maybe. I would have said she would have before, but since Zhang Weili has been learning how to grapple more in the last couple of years, and she had been working with Henry Cejudo before, she seems like her grappling is just on another level too, and her striking is definitely, I would give her the advantage in the striking. So I got to go with Zhang Weili here. I'll say it's a great fight. I'll say Suarez even puts her in trouble a few times, maybe early on with the grappling. But I'll say as the fight goes on and we're in those championship rounds, I think Suarez will probably get finished TKO round 4.
I know Weili is one of the greatest fighters of all time in the UFC. I'm certainly a fan of hers and think, she has a very good chance of winning. But a healthy Tatiana Suarez is something she's never dealt with before. So this is assuming Tatiana's coming in healthy. We aren't aware of any injuries, but she does have a long history of bad injuries. So nobody has the kind of wrestling that Suarez has plus her size. I think it's just going to be really hard for Weili. So I think it's going to be too much for her, in fact. So I'm going to pick Suarez by decision. I think Suarez wins a lot of rounds, maybe 4, maybe all 5 rounds.
Okay. I hope that she does get the title. It's a great story. So
yeah,
we'll see what
absolutely.
Happens.
All right. Main event, Dricus Du Plessis versus Sean Strickland 2.
All right, Strickland, 29-6, 11 KOs, 4 subs, 14 decisions. He's won 4 out of his last 5. He's the former champ. DDP, 22-2, 9 KOs, 11 subs, 2 decisions, 8-0 in the UFC. Current middleweight champion. Performance of the night twice and fight of the night twice. Last time these guys fought each other, split decision war. A fight that a lot of media was really split on too. There were a lot of people thought DDP won, a lot of people thought Strickland won. Dana even said, not in a bad way, but he said he thought Strickland won in round 5. Super close. Difference here to me is both fighters are constantly working on improving. I think DDP is making a few more bigger steps. I think you could have argued Strickland won that first fight, but I think this time around, and with the confidence, like Freddie Roach likes to say, when you become a champion, you automatically become 30% better. DDP's not only become a champion, he's got his first defense. Now he's going to fight a guy that he knows he's capable of beating. He's beaten once in his mind, even if it was close. I say all the momentum will go to him. And I'll say he's going to get a late round 5 submission. Strickland will either tap or he'll pass out.
Yeah, we're pretty in line with this. Very close first fight. I am in the camp where I thought Sean actually won that first one. Very close. Nobody got robbed. Mm-hmm. I just have a feeling that Dricus is going to get it done. Like you said, once you're champ, you can probably tack on 30% to what you were doing before. Sean is very hard to hit, and apparently he has very good grappling. We never see it. So I don't think he's going to get finished. But Dricus, all it takes is 1 or 2 shots early on. If he lands on Sean, he's going to get his respect and stop that pressure. And then he's going to do a much better job of mixing in takedowns and keeping Sean guessing and landing. When he does land, they're going to be impactful and meaningful for those judges. So I think people are sick of seeing Sean, and, judges watch these fights too. They're going to hear, the crowd and everything, and just Sean's like teep kick thing where he's just standing on one leg. It doesn't really look great for judging, I don't think. So I think Dricus is going to land the more impactful shots and a few takedowns and get a decision win.
All right. All right, UFC 312 this weekend. What's stuff we got coming up one more time?
February 15th, UFC Fight Night, Cannonier versus Rodriguez. That's the RoboCop Rodriguez. February 22nd, UFC Fight Night, Cejudo versus Song. And then March 1st, UFC Fight Night, Royval versus Cop.
All right, big fights coming up, but UFC 312 is where it will be at this weekend. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and enjoy some Game Up.
If you haven't tried Game Up, then you are missing out. Imagine your favorite seltzer and your favorite sports drink had a baby, but it's way better than that. Each can is 110 calories, low carb, 4.9 ABV. It's a nice light drink that is not light on flavor. Game Up comes in fruit punch, orange, lemon, lime, and grape. Pick it up at drinkgameup.com.